Newstalk ZB.
3 minutes away from 8, sport after 8. Of course, Monday morning meantime is the Prime Minister, Christopher Luxon, is with us. Very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike. How are you?
Very well indeed. Couple of issues. So, Neil Quigley Friday night.
Yep.
How big a mess reputationally does this look for the Reserve Bank, both Quigley and or?
I don't think it's a mess at all. I think it would have been more of a shambles if it had carried on much longer, frankly. I think, there were issues there around the handling of the employment issue with the Governor that wasn't as fully transparent as it needed to be. You heard Nicola express her unhappiness about it, and I think he made the right decision actually thinking about any reputational damage that would have carried on.
Were you as unhappy with him as Nicola was?
Well, again, I think, Nicola and I are very aligned. We're unhappy with the handling of it. It could have been much better done and more transparent. But at the end of the day, he's done 15 years worth of service. He's delivered a capital rules reset. He's advancing well a new governor, which will be something we hope to announce shortly. So, right decision to go.
Do you know who the governor is?
We've got a couple of candidates. Yeah, we're in a process at the moment. So,
so that's days, weeks?
Yeah, that'll be weeks. Yeah.
Where's the governor itself?
Sorry?
As opposed to the chair, where's the chairman? Have you got someone lined up?
Yes, at the moment the deputy chair has stepped in. Yes,
okay, and for what, the foreseeable or?
Well, that will be worked out in the coming weeks, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. As far as the money's concerned for OR, at the start it looked like you give the guy some money to go away. Now it looks like he packs a massive sad. The chairman packs a massive sad. Everyone's stamping their feet being children. How come he got money to go away?
Well, those will be tied to his employment contracts that he'll have with the board, and that'll be arrangements between obviously chair and CEOs, as you'd expect in any other organisation.
And you're comfortable with that?
Yeah, well, we've got to uphold employment contracts, and that's what, and that's that. We don't employ them. We don't have influence over how they spend money. What we agree is 5-year funding agreements, as you know. Which we've had some, pretty tough conversations around, which I think is in the public record. But ultimately, what the employment contracts are, we have to, that's up to boards.
Is there a lesson here for other government departments or agencies that this sort of Official Information Act, ombudsman, let's keep it quiet, let's not say anything? Someone needs to either be transparent or.
I think truth is always the best policy, right? And I think that's the takeaway from all of this.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I ask you one more time.
God, this is foreign bias, isn't it?
It is foreign bias. Is today the day? Are we any closer to being able
to... We
are
very close, Mike, and I've said that now for the last, 7 weeks. I think you've been hammering me on this point every single week.
That's right.
So I hope to have something to say very shortly about it.
When?
Imminently. Before we meet next time. Within a week.
So this week. This is the week.
It could well be.
Okay.
Yep.
Why has it taken 7 weeks?
Well, you've got a situation where, as you know, we went to a policy saying we actually wanted to unwind the foreign buyer ban. You've got equally a position from New Zealand First, which is that they didn't want any of that, and fair enough. We agreed not to do any of that, and I suspect what I'll end up announcing, or we'll end up announcing, will be a compromise where neither of us is 100% happy, but we've found a way to do something that will support investors in particular coming into New Zealand, so they can purchase a house ultimately, and equally it also drives some trade activity as well for tradies.
Good. So in making this announcement this week, I'm assuming then it gets sorted today. Because Cabinet's today. That's how
I can't possibly talk about Cabinet, as you know.
No, I know.
But you're about to put me up against a wall and just pummel me. I get it.
No, I'm just sick of asking the question.
I'm sick of answering it.
Well, I'm not surprised.
That's why I want to get an answer.
The reason I asked the question is...
one more week of this.
Well, it can't be one more week because you said it's this week.
Exactly. That's why I'm working hard to get...
So it is this week. Can you explain from Winston Peters' point of view what his problem has been?
Well, I think they've had a long-standing position around foreign investment, and in fairness to Winston and also to New Zealand First, and I think they've actually really understood quality investment. And I think, in fairness, there was a question around a lot of what we've seen in the past with has been speculative investment. So if you think about it, people coming in, buying houses, flipping houses, none of that adds any value to New Zealand productively as an economy. And so you're trying to find the way in which you can support productive investment that actually does help our economy sort of grow. We've had massive challenges with foreign investment. We've attracted zero, capital sovereign wealth funds for major public infrastructure. We're doing a good job in there. We've got more to do. Equally, if you think about that active investor visa, Mike, I think we've had something like close to 1.8 billion come in since we made the change on April 1. It was more in the first 2 months than it was in the previous 3 years.
And not one of them can buy a house.
So that's why we've got to link that together. So watch this space.
Okay, so I am watching that, and so I will watch this afternoon. What I want to know is if you, and we will get him on, I'll ask him, but say it's 4, 5, 6, 7 million, whatever it was. The election you were 2, so maybe 2's too low.
Yeah, and I think we got the number, as I said before, too low, and I think we had a complication to it all, and probably didn't get our policy 100% right either. That's why I think there's that's why we've been able to have a conversation and get a compromise.
Let's say it's 5, and let's say you got to live in it, for example. So you come in with your golden visa, you put $10 million into the economy, you spend 5 on your house, you live in your house. What's Winston's objection to that?
Well, I don't think there is. That's what I'm saying here. I think he's been quite sensible, actually, about making sure that we're not driving speculation, that we actually are driving productive investment. And I think, Winston, will often talk about, as I do, about Singapore or the islands of the world. And we've realised collectively that there is a real challenge around, getting investment into New Zealand. So I actually think he's been very reasonable in his position, but he's also holding us to account to say, hey, listen, I want to be reassured that this isn't just going to drive, speculative.
So all you do is you say you've got to live in your house or do something like that.
There's lots of ways through it, yeah. But
okay, what are the other ways?
Well, you have to wait and see.
Okay.
This feels like a John Clark.
Just like all I want is, as I keep telling you, is I want this country up and running and pulling every lever we can to make the thing easy to do business in.
Exactly.
I mean, how hard can it be?
That's right. So I think what we've both come to realisation is, hey, listen, if we've got people who are coming here to put quality investment into New Zealand, it's perverse that they can't own a house. Okay. How we do that to make sure that we actually can reassure ourselves that it is actually proper investment activity that's happening, not speculation, which is what I think in the past.
And so if we rang and booked Winston in for tomorrow, would he be available to come on and talk about this? Would he be...
Well, I'm sure he loves coming to talk to you.
Well, I'm sure he does.
That'll be up to him ultimately.
All right, we'll stand by. Brian Roche and the mergers. Is this real in the government departments?
Yeah, look, I mean, I've asked Brian Roche, who's a really seasoned guy, to take on that role as Public Service Commissioner. I think he's excellent. I think he knows the machinery of government well, but I've given him a brief to say, make this thing more efficient and make it deliver. I think there's 2 things you can do. One is you can restructure to get rid of the back office functions of lots of agencies. You'll find endless government departments, agencies replicate the people function, the IT function, the accounting function, all that stuff. You could simplify a lot of that. And the second thing that I think is important is that my vision, as I said to him, is I want to see these government agencies as large service organisations having a customer, delivering for a customer who happens to be the public of New Zealand. And there's not a customer mentality in the public service sufficiently. So you can do that partly through restructuring, as he's looking at a series of proposals. Nothing's come to Cabinet. We haven't had a discussion about it. I appreciate there's media reporting of possibilities. But the other thing, Mike, that I think is really important is embracing technology, because actually when you embrace technology, as I found in business, you actually end up backward engineering your systems and your processes and your structure to actually serve a customer, through technology.
Shouldn't you have done this the first time around when you got rid of the 2,000 people?
Well, I just think there's ongoing work that's needed. I mean, you're trying to, and if you think about the first 18 months, we're coming to power. We've inherited a hell of a mess: recession, COVID hangover, tariffs. We've got a bunch of things we've got to get out the door. You've got to sort of restructure and change the tyre while you're driving the car at the same time. And so this is just ongoing daily work that should be happening. And if there's better ways to do it, we should be relentless about constant improvement. Nicola
Willis wasn't happy with me last week.
Why?
Well, it's a long story.
You're so friendly and nice.
Exactly. But the point. But do you worry image-wise that she is running the supermarket thing and this butter thing, and that you're supposed to be a government that is friendly with business and to help business, and she's beating up on supermarkets and telling us what's wrong with supermarkets and what's wrong with butter? No, I think she doesn't come up with any actual solutions.
Well,
she's just trying to jawbone a solution.
No, I push back on that. I think, when you say, how does this country get wealthier? One of the 5 things we have to do is make it easier to do business. And we have to look at competitive settings, green tape, red tape, or getting rid of bureaucracy, all of that stuff, right? And so we are a party, that's always been built on competition. And whether it's large or whether it's small, we want competitive markets. And so all she's done in supermarkets is take a step back and say, my God, we've done an endless talking about this stuff. Have we done everything we possibly can to make those regulatory settings easier? It turns out there's prohibitive zoning, there's slow consenting, there's a bunch of stuff getting in the way. So if she actually gets rid of all of that, She's done a good job linking all of that to fast track, so supermarkets can be treated like fast track projects. The harder thing, to be honest, that's taken some time is working through the Building Act changes, which is to get those multi-proof ideas so that if you've got one store format like a Costco, you can hit copy paste and get more of it done. And we have 82 building code authorities in New Zealand, which is probably about 81 too many, that end up interpreting the building code differently. So if you're Costco and you want to put a store in Christchurch, you're dealing with a whole bunch of different malarkey around all that. And so to get to a place where we can guarantee them one building code authority that they will work with, and how the Crown may help support that to make that all happen, there's some complexity in all of that. So all we can do is we don't create the growth, but we have to create the conditions for growth and get the operating system right. And I think that's what she's done really well.
Have a good week.
I will, mate.
Good to talk to you. PM Luxon, 13 to 8.